Welcome back to the Maria Sanchez Show right here on KADY TV.com. Thank you so much for your eyes, and feel free to tell a friend. We are under the radar at the moment, so you're joining a select few who have found out about us through word of mouth. Feel free to spread the word. We're doing it a little bit at a time because we just went live on Monday of this week. Today's Wednesday, October 27th. And Scott is put on his original hat, which is proprietor and business owner and marketing maven. And Scott, in terms of marketing, why don't we just go first there? What does that mean in general?
Well, marketing is differentiated from sales in that marketing is designed to motivate people to take an action, but it really doesn't push them quite enough to buy. So you need a sales function after it. And marketing can be anything. It can be public relations, it can be traditional advertising, it can be a website, it can be a trade show, it can be direct mail, it can be, we're in a political season, it can be signs in a front lawn. So all of these things fall under the marketing umbrella.
And marketing creates awareness.
Marketing creates awareness, and hopefully it motivates some kind of action, whether that action is to go to a website, pick up a phone, visit a store, whatever it might be. That's what the job of marketing is. So we either take a product or service that you're not aware of now and make you aware of it and the benefits and the reasons that we think you should buy it, or we take a product and service that you are aware of and we remind you of it so that you don't forget about it.
Which is why Crest and Colgate and
look at Coca-Cola. They have
they
have 3 or 4 most recognizable brands in the world and the largest advertising budget in the United States. And there's a reason for that, because they want to continue to be a well-known brand. Now, if they stopped advertising for a week or a month, nobody would forget about them, but they continue to do it over and over and over again. And what we wanted to talk about today, just as an introductory level, is the value of a strategic plan in an overall marketing effort. People who come to advertising agencies or marketing firms traditionally come to us for creative reasons. I want a great looking ad. I want a terrific TV spot or a great sounding radio spot or a beautiful brochure or website. And that's all fantastic, but a lot of times they don't have a plan. And I'll ask them, do you have a marketing plan in place? And normally that just kind of freezes people. And the analogy that I use, it seems to kind of get people to understand it, is this. If you were going to build a custom home, you would want to hire a general contractor to build that home. And that general contractor would then go out and hire electricians and glaziers and everybody else. And that would be the equivalent of my writers and designers and production people. But before you did that, you would hire an architect.
Right.
The architect is the strategic plan. You've got to have a plan in place for people to follow, and a lot of people don't have one. And I share this story quite often. About 3 years ago, I was doing a strategic plan for a large international company. It's a multi-billion-dollar company, and they had major offices in 12 different countries. So they brought in all 12 presidents of the company to the United States to meet for a weekend to develop this plan together, and I was going to lead that. And the only one who was excited about it was the overall president of the corporation, which is based in the United States, because he's the one that hired me. The other 11 were there begrudgingly. They didn't believe it was necessary, and they didn't want to give up their 3 days. And inside of 10 minutes, I could see this was going to be a battle. So I made an offer to them. I said, I want the 12 of you to do this. I want you to write down the mission statement of your company, and I want to write down your #1 goal for the upcoming 12 months. And if any 3 of the 12 of you match, the entire weekend's on me. Now, I couldn't have afforded that, so I really needed this to go my way.
Wow.
And no 2 of them matched. Each of them thought they knew where the company was going and what their goal was, but what they didn't have was a shared vision. They didn't have an overall strategic plan. And so then you could see their eyes open, and they kind of came around and said, maybe we do need a strategic plan. Maybe there needs to be something in place. And so once you kind of get that happening, it's a wild thing. And I'll share one more quick story just because I love this story, and this one's just a few months old. I had been hired by the president of the corporation to do their strategic plan, and one of the first steps was to meet with their board of directors, 12 people. And not everybody on the board was thrilled about paying the fees for me developing the strategic plan, and they brought this up during the meeting. That's their job, right? That's their responsibility as a board. I'm not offended by that at all. And one of the guys said, well, we've got a strategic plan. We don't need you to do one. I said, well, maybe you don't. If you have a strategic plan, you probably don't need me. And I said, where's that strategic plan? Well, the 12 board of directors, the president of the corporation, and his top 2 assistants were all in the room. Nobody knew what the strategic plan was. Nobody could find the strategic plan. Along the wall here, on the side wall, there were a number of file cabinets. And as I'm listening to these guys argue with each other, I noticed one of the file cabinets says strategic plan. I may not be the sharpest guy in the room, but I'm just going to take a wild guess. Maybe if we look behind that magic drawer, we'll find a strategic plan. Turns out nobody had a key to the file cabinet. No one in the board, not the president of the corporation, not his assistants, nobody had a key. And the plan was 4 or 5 years old, and no one had a copy of it. The whole point of having a strategic plan is to have a fluid document that you use, that you then make decisions based on. that you look at every decision that comes up. Should we go to this trade show? Do we redo our brochure? Is it time for a new website? Do we want to do a television show? All of the marketing things that you do can then be judged against that plan.
So, but in general, it's a roadmap.
It's a roadmap. That's actually, I'm glad you bring that up, because in a small pitch for me, that is our trademark name for it. That's what we call it, as a roadmap. Yeah,
okay.
That's what we call it. It's the Mustang Roadmap. And we trademarked that name about 10 years ago.
Oh.
And so that is, thank you so much. I couldn't have prepped you and had this go any better. That is what we call it. That is what we do. It is a roadmap, and that's exactly what it's for. And it goes from the company president right on down to who's ever running your marketing department. And they can look at that document and say, here's the opportunity presented to us, here's the plan, is it consistent? And we're not going to have time to go in depth into it, but there are 4 components to a successful strategic plan, and I'll run through them very quickly.
Okay.
The very first one of these is goals. And goals is not some mushy mission statement, vision statement. We want happy employees and rainbows and butterflies and all of that good stuff. A goal has 2 things. It's quantifiable, there's a number attached to it, and there's a timetable. So we want sales to increase by 10%. We want 14 new clients, whatever that number is, that's concrete that we can look at, and then you've got a timetable. We want to do that in the next 12 months, for example. So establishing goals is critical. And we can go into these expanded another day. The second is the audience, and there's multiple audience. You've got board of directors, you've got employees, you've got customers, you've got clients, you've got prospects, you've got vendors. You have to look at all those different audiences and make sure that you're getting an understanding of what's important to each of those audiences. Because what's important to your board of directors is different than what's important to your prospects, right, which is different than what's important to your employees. But all of them are critical to your future success. So you identify all those audiences. The third of the 4 components is a message. And the message is different, right? The message I'm going to give to you as an employee is different than the one I'm going to give to my customer or to my prospect. So you have to identify those messages. And then the 4th component is the vehicles. How are we going to reach them? And that gets back to what most people think of when they think of marketing and advertising. Are we going to reach them through the Maria Sanchez show? Are we going to reach them through direct mail? Are we going to reach them through a website? Are we going to reach them at a trade show? Are we going to walk door to door? How are we going to do that? Where are we going to go? So what I want to get across today is this. You have got to have a strategic marketing plan to have a successful marketing campaign. Today, every hour and every dollar is critical that a company spends. And we don't even use the term spend. What you want to use is invest. Mm-hmm. And what we try to do is to get people to understand that marketing can be an investment if it's done right. And we can help you maximize the return on the investment by developing a plan. And when I say we, of course, I'd like you to think of Mustang, but whoever it is that's developing that critical marketing plan, they should be able to take your investment and maximize the return, which is what every board wants to hear.
Right.
Because in the end, they don't care if the ad is blue or if it's on the radio or on TV or direct in mail. They want to know, if we put $200,000 into marketing, are we going to increase sales? Are we going to increase revenue? Or are we going to increase profits? If the answer is yes, how about if we put $300,000 in? I just had that meeting with a client the other day. He said, you know, it's working so well. How long before it slows down on the return? I mean, can we double the investment and double our return? And so then you kind of have to look at it from that point of view. So you want to establish goals, you want to identify the audience, you want to then create messages, and then you want to identify the correct vehicles to deliver the message. And that would be the very basics of a strategic plan.
And I was going to say, and there's so many questions that I need to follow up, so we'll see other segments to
of
do
course.
that, since you
I will
gave
look
a
forward
great
to that.
general overview, because how about what's realistic and whose vision ultimately, and consensus, and
all of those things play a part, and we'll look forward to discussing those with you down the road.
Thank you. It was like, wow, a primer 101, marketing 101.
Blow through 10 minutes, don't we?
Yeah. Scott Harris with Mustang Marketing. You're watching the Maria Sanchez Show on KADYTV.com. Tomorrow we have the CEO of the Camarillo Boys and Girls Club with us. They have a very unique fundraiser that they've got planned in early November, and we're going to help support that. If you have something you'd like us to get behind, please let us know. Thank you so much for watching.